streaming snafu then, as I mentioned a second ago. Mr. B, if you're in here, welcome. Apparently you need to set the stream not to be private, and that works much better. So anyway, we're going to take it from the top here and kind of go through this machine real quick. So I've been jammering on it for a while to myself. Anyone else on the stream now? So welcome. Today I found a all-in-one machine from the 90s, a Packard Bell Spectria 200. So these machines were kind of rare and hard to come by, it seems like, back in the day. Well, not very rare. This is kind of like the machine that everyone would have bought to use for home, right? They would have bought this kind of their, again, all-in-one machine that had, especially the beginning of the multimedia revolution when everything was on CD all of a sudden, kind of a huge stack of bundled software to take advantage of all the multimedia features. So I'm very excited because I used to have a compact Presario, I think CDS 520, which is very similar to this machine, except an actual compact instead of a Packard Bell, right? So everyone was kind of trying to get in on this kind of like, we need one computer for the home and it needs to do everything. So we're going to cram everything in here, you know, monitor, computer, speakers, all the good stuff, all the software you might need to just get up and running right away. You don't have to buy anything extra. Came with everything. So sadly, I don't have the keyboard and mouse for this guy. May try and pick that up at some point, but some of the main highlights of this machine would be, again, it's fully integrated. And we'll get to the back in a second, and we'll see something funny actually with the integrated monitor. So you got your standard floppy drive, CD-ROM drive. It's a little bit yellow, by the way. Not too bad. I can't really pick up on the camera, I can tell here. It's a little yellow. Might retrobite it later, but it's not too bad of condition. It's a little gunk and everything. I found a few bugs on it as well, so it comes with age. And it has the distinct wavy Packard Bell design from the 90s, obviously. So, but this is a 486 DX2, 66 megahertz. It says so right here on the spec here. It's got a 420 megabyte hard drive. We'll see if that still actually works or not. I'm pretty sure this machine has been wiped, so we'll probably have to reload it. I'm hoping that the software bundle includes the restore CDs, which will make our lives a lot easier. So I will try, if we get that far tonight, to actually stream as well, restoring everything, which is what you see right up there. Let's see, there will be the capture window. We'll get to that later. So anyway, Spectra 200. We have 8 megabytes of RAM, upgradable to 64. We'll take a look at the main board as well. This is similar to my compact. The actual main board slides right out the back, and you actually look at the whole motherboard and all the components quite easily. Well, it's not really a way to exit otherwise, since the monitor is baked into the machine. We got a this line is pretty funny because it's 14400 BPS fax/modem and mouse. Of all the places to put mouse, they put it on the modem line. So they're just like, oh crud, we got to mention mouse in the marketing material for this as well. So we put it on the modem. Anyway, double speed CD-ROM drive, pretty standard fare for back in the day, and a very, very hyperbole sounding sound system on this one because it's got 16-bit SRS, registered trademark, 3D amphitheater stereo sound system with integrated speakers. So that's a lot of praise for what looks like your standard beige speakers from the day. And these are not detachable. They are attached to the actual computer. They do not come off. So 1 megabyte video memory, upgradable 2 megabytes. Telephone answering system, again, leading into the whole, like, we need one machine to do everything. So it has that included as well. Plus, a popular selection of software titles we'll get to in a second here. If you're on what the second camera is for, by the way, I have another camera up here, just so that I can move things around if I need to get a closer shot or anything. So you can just ignore it for now, I guess. I want to have it available. So we're going to take a spin on this guy and see what's on the back here. And it's actually quite heavy. Monitor integrated again, so a slide on feet. You see it's a little yellow here, but so we have a few dials here. We can adjust where the screen goes, or the actual location of the monitor and everything. Brightness, contrast, and then volume knob for the speakers. So there we go. And the first thing that you probably notice on this guy is like, hang on, this is an integrated all-in-one. Why does it have a monitor cable? But sure enough, it's got a monitor cable. So the monitor is, you know, integrated. And I mean, it's got a one power supply, so it shares that and everything. But yes, you could plug in an external monitor then quite easily, since the monitor actually is just basically plugged in this way. The compact I had when I was a kid was all integrated. It was one unit. So this one actually uses a real monitor cable. But that's a cost-cutting measure of anything I've seen. So, but we have a parallel port, a serial port, and then we have a mouse keyboard back here as well. And then we have what looks like a fax modem with integrated sound card. I've seen that before as well. So we have our game port, actual fax line, and then our 3 input-output microphone and everything for the audio. So we'll take a look at the actual machine in a minute here, and there's actually some screw adjustments here for different positions, you know, convergence or the pin cushion and all those settings, right, are actually adjusted. It's like the little knobs set in there and everything. So we'll take a look at that in a second here. But and actually, this board is going to slide out as well. But I want to go through some of the insane stack of software that came with this machine, which is pretty rare to find. It feels like a lot of times you find these things, people have thrown this stuff a long time ago. They don't have any of the software, none of the bundle CDs, none of the packing paperwork or anything like that. So this one actually has quite a bit, and a few interesting tidbits we'll get to as well. So we'll take it from the bottom here. The Packard Bell Navigator is the program group manager that Packard Bell bundled with their computers in the 90s, and they replaced the normal program manager with what can be best described as kind of like a living room experience. They were trying to make it, you know, I got to remember that a lot of these machines in the 90s, this might have been the first computer for people, so they really tried to make it like non-hostile, I guess. You know, they don't expect the user to know anything. So a lot of the time in the 90s, they had these kind of program groups overlays to make it look friendlier. So it actually would be more relatable for the user. You know, little kid rooms, and they can put their icons and software on like little shelves and everything. So I'm hoping this bundle comes with original software and reload it with that intact. The Navigator is kind of like a real treat when it comes to 90s multimedia experience. So my friend had a Packard Bell, I had a Compact, but his definitely had the Navigator software in there. So, you know, it's kind of fun to use. So we'll get to that here in a minute. We have the Personal Computer User Guide. Again, remember this one had been the first computer for someone, so they included software and manuals for everything. So this is a pretty thick manual on how to use the computer, where all the power buttons are, all the plugins are, what to do if something breaks, you know, what you can do to upgrade it, things like that. So pretty hefty manual. We have two books for the sound card or the sound card. So there's the software user's guide on how to use the software that comes bundled with the sound card. Here's the actual user's guide on how to use the sound card itself. You know, the settings for it, installing drivers, things like that. So already we have quite a capable stack here of documentation. We have the Microsoft Multimedia Pack User's Guide, which was again a bundle software that came with it. So we have just again lots of documentation on how to use all the software that came with it, DOS settings and everything. So pretty handy then. I mean, you didn't have the internet in the same way you might have had internet, but it was slow, so you could just Google it or find a manual, right? So a lot of times the packing manual was what you used to set up your computer or use it, especially just your first machine. So, and then we have the Quick Start Guide, which is the actual original kind of like where do I start and what do I need to do to use this computer, based on the handwriting here. So I actually wrote down their serial number and everything for this machine. Not a bad idea. So when you call support, then you have all the information handy. So based on the handwriting, it may have been an elderly lady or gentleman, I guess. So maybe that's why all the software is still included. I think most people just chuck this at some point. So, but again, here has like very basic information on how to use a computer, because a lot of time people did not have that experience yet. So there we go. And we have the 14.4 modem user guide. So now we have a modem user guide. That was important back then again. We have the Mindscape user manual, which I think is a lot of the bundled software. So we have 995 Grolier Multimedia Encyclopedia, Mega Race, which is a favorite game of mine back in the day. My friend who had a Packard Bell, it came included with this machine, so I'm hoping it's in the software bundle here. We can actually play that again on this machine. We have the US Atlas and World Atlas Quick Start information as well. So just a lot of the software that's bundled with this machine. So we'll try and explore that later as well. Then we have the Microsoft Windows for Workgroups and MS-DOS, actual the licensing that came with it. All, you know, OEM machines back in the day came with this then, from that era. Then we have the Packard Bell Master CD enclosed. I believe I took that already. We'll get to that as well. But this is probably where a lot of the original CDs would have been in one of these, like to, with serial number and everything on it. So limited warranty Multimedia Master Diskette version 109. So we'll see what's in this box. So there's a lot in this box, and that's what's really cool about this. So we'll get through all this here. And Mega Race was amazing. So I remember playing that a lot on my friend's Packard Bell. I didn't have it because it came just bundled with this, right? And those really, really cheesy full motion videos, and then also the live action and everything, and your car was like overlaid on the background. It was basically a running video. So we'll get to that one. So FaxWorks, again, this is supposed to be like an all-in-one machine that everyone can use in the family, right, including faxing and calling and everything. So with telephone answering system, I remember my compact had the same thing. The intent was that you would use it as an answer machine, and it was not a good idea and did not work. If you want an answer machine in the 90s, don't use your $2,000 computer. Use the freaking answer machine, right? It was just janky, very janky. I remember trying to mess with it and just had no luck at all. So, all right, we have a little more loose papers here. We have the Microsoft Windows User Guide information, the Hyper Guide, which I believe, yeah, it looks like it's a software bundle with the machine that contains like quick start tips and everything, how to get going. So, we have Prodigy Internet with 10 hours of free internet. Hooray! Don't think we'll be needing that. I will probably put a network card in this guy so it can actually connect to my local network, but I don't think I'll be using dial-up on it. But yeah, that's pretty funny. Not gonna do that. And here we got a little flyer on to print money checks. So using the Microsoft Money, you could probably just order checks or print them right on the spot. So, yep, fantastic. We have the limited warranty, services required. We have the actual ready-to-run software. Don't forget, so this was probably one of the first ones he'd open, right? And we got a little Micromedia registration. Wow, this means that this person was serious about his computer because it actually looks like they cut this out and registered it. Someone who actually registered their software, ladies and gentlemen, back in the 90s. All right, let's go through some more stuff. So we had one floppy actually sitting in this guy, which was the DOS 622 boot disk, so we won't be needing that one, hopefully. I think that, again, this machine has been wiped, so I'm hoping to restore stuff in here for real. So we actually have these guys as well. So this actually came with this classic 80s of this, I guess, or 90s 3D glasses, because a lot of the multimedia software, I remember like some of the explore your body things, those had actually 3D or faux 3D effect. So that's going to be a riot to experience and see. That probably doesn't exactly hold up to modern standards, but still, the fact that these are still here, I feel like it's really hard, especially when this kind of stuff is bundled. So, Knowledge Avenger 1994. This side toward face. This side toward face. Not for sunglasses or any other use. Oh man. Used only for viewing Knowledge Adventure 3D software. My cool factor is shot through the roof, so. Hurts my eyes though. Alright. You have to tell me, Ryan, if you can hear me alright. I'm using my lapel mic, so hopefully it doesn't sound too muffled or anything. Alright, so we have a large stack of included software. So this is the Packard Bell CD collection. Includes a selection of CD-ROM titles and important quick start information. So this is the main software bundles. Take a look and see what we got in here. So we got the Microsoft Multimedia Pack for Windows. Collection of samples and applications provides several new multimedia features for your new computer. Hyperguide, multimedia to our music box, things like that. We have the 1995 Grolier Multimedia Encyclopedia. MPC, Multimedia PC. Multimedia was a big deal back then, so 95. Alright, we got the 3D Dinosaur Adventure, the Kids Zoo, a baby animal adventure. Again, they're trying to bundle this machine to like, just plug it in, the whole family can use it, right? So, look at this. Mega Race. In this future, speed that kills isn't enough. So yeah, here it is. Original Mega Race. One of this old person who had this computer used it a lot. We got the 3D body Knowledge Adventure. So this is where the 3D glass will probably come in handy. So we have the US Atlas, the software toolworks. So we got an Atlas software. We have the World Atlas. Then we kind of got a bundle CD, which I remember this, yeah. My friend had it again, so it was like, I think he went through it like in the first day he bought his computer, and I forgot about his play games. So he didn't really care about these, but I thought it was really cool because my compact did not have it. So, Speed, experience how and why we like to go fast. Space Adventure, Undersea Adventure. So it's kind of a sampling multimedia kit and everything. And here's the quick reference guide for those same discs. We have the CD collection. All the information on how to use them. It's all here, all the sports, all the stars, all the stats. So this is the Sports Illustrated Multimedia Sports Almanac. It's probably in there somewhere. The Multimedia Master Packard Bell Library. So the Master CD can be utilized to restore your hard drive to original factory contents in the event of loss or damage. This is the guy we're looking for. This is the official Restore CD. So this is one I'm guessing is going to have to go up on archive.org or something, because usually these are a little harder to find for specific models. So especially since I couldn't find much information on this computer online. So then we have the Microsoft Work software. So that's kind of like a Office Pack Lite back in the day. And then the Sports Illustrated 1984 Multimedia Sports Almanac. So multimedia again, right? So, but there's the Restore CD, so that's the guy we're going to try and use later to restore this machine. So we have even more stuff. Let's take a look. And this barely holding together CD-ROM thing here. So we have just loose software. Street Finder 1997. So this is clearly not a bundle software. Came later. Trip Maker 1997. Street Finder 1997. Not Street Fighter. Street Finder. For finding streets. The best U.S. atlas ever. That's a little bit of a bold claim, don't you think? I mean, yet, I understand, but ever. And it's circled Western United States, so disc 1 of 2, okay. I don't know what disc 2 is, but oh well, I guess you only get the West Coast, not the East Coast. So this thing is, yeah, this one's pretty much shot. I'll throw that one away. Then we have a lot of software here crammed in, so floppy disk and everything. So here's one that we definitely will need. The first one, so again, this is kind of key. This is the recovery disk. So this is the one you boot from, and it would ask for the CD-ROM, and then you would restore the machine. So that makes life a lot easier. My question is if it's still readable or not. But it's basically a DOS boot disk that then just spins up and look for the CD, and then just wipes the whole hard drive, restores to the factory default. So that's super helpful if it does work. We got the Multimedia Master Diskette version. Insert Multimedia Master CD into CD-ROM drive, reboot computer, choose appropriate function, follow instructions. Alright, so, yeah. We have someone who custom printed a very nice label. The, let's see, it's drivers for Mike's HP 540 printer for Windows 95. So we will not be loading Windows 95 on this guy. That's sacrilege. It needs to have Windows 3.11, right? So we have what appears to be just a large collection of homemade DOS, Windows Workgroup, setup disk, Workgroup, disk 6, 7, 8, there we go. Productivity pack, setup disk, entertainment pack for Windows setup disk, Cirrus Logic VGA drivers, utilities, install drivers, wow. Setup disk, Action 3.0, I'm not sure what Action 3.0 is, but I got the install disks for it. Sound drivers, utilities, setup disk. So yeah, I'm not sure if these will be needed or not. Prodigy, FaxWorks, it looks like the whole software. Plug and play utilities, Windows ICU and Configuration Manager, virtual remote control, setup disk. So this is all the software that I think came bundled with it. So unless someone downloaded it after the fact or put it on floppies just in case, I'm not sure. So I'll check that out. But we do have a recovery disk, which is the important part. So we have another stack of software here. I think this is probably a lot, kind of like a slush box of stuff, because it doesn't look like official software by one shot. Juno, Windows 98 startup disk. I'm not sure if this is fax software or that. We have Butterfly screensaver. That's neat. In case you want some butterflies. Expert Reading Maker. Power Toys. Oh my, someone actually printed an official label for Power Toys. That's WinZip 95. So yeah, this is like later. Microsoft Word template, bigger and better designed. Jewel Tea Collection, Autumn Leaf Hall China Company, Dishes, Jewel Tea Collection. Game 95, I have no idea what that is. Let's see. Yep, this is just like personal software, looks like class, things like that. So, based on that, yep, definitely an older lady or gentleman that owned it. So, again, sadly, I don't have the official keyboard and mouse, and now my hands are really dirty because that stuff has been just stored forever. So, yeah, someone liked this machine a lot. You're right, Brian, because that's a lot of stuff bundled here. Someone kept it together. The fact that I saw this on the marketplace, they said all the CDs were there and everything, but the fact that it had all of the original packing software, to me, feels extremely rare. But someone actually kept all this. It wouldn't surprise me if I mean, someone probably got this on a estate sale and then resold and things like that, but it wouldn't surprise me if that original location would probably have the box for this machine too or something, because people like that just tend to keep everything, so I shouldn't say anything, I hoard everything, but... So, the one thing I wanted to check with this machine here, we're actually going to take a look, the cool thing with these all-in-ones, now, unfortunately, it looks like the screws here have been kind of beat up just because it's pretty exposed here, right? So anything hits this is going to kind of get stuck. So I'm going to see if I can unscrew this here. I think it's coming with it, so. Let's see, but I need a second. I may have to take that one out here. Whole screw is coming out at the same time. That's all right. I really want to unplug this, so. There we go. So the little screw that it actually screws into are just coming out. So screw that back in there. But what I noticed when I was carrying this is that normally there's two little thumb screws here that hold this thing together. They were not there. So when I was carrying down the stairs, this thing almost just socked me. But the cool thing with these all-in-ones is that, again, they use kind of like a one solution, so it's actually a drawer that has the whole computer basically on here. I mean, that's the whole machine, and it's pretty accessible, so. So, I'm gonna see if I can take the other camera here, hopefully make no one motion sick. Whoop. Alright, so yeah, we have our hard drive, of course. It's going to be a lot of really hard to see here. Make someone motion sick. This is our integrated fax modem and everything. So we got our hard drive over here, our drive bay, of course, here. So we have a CD-ROM drive and everything. And I see the processor down here. It looks like we have two modules. Actually, let me see if I can just take this whole assembly out. So can I have people motion sick this way? The second camera wasn't such a good idea. There we go. I think it actually, the whole kit and caboodle comes out. There we go. Just actually lean it up here. So yeah, here's the whole computer, right? It came right out. And it basically uses a proprietary connector, I believe, to connect all this together. But yeah, we got one ISO slot still available, so I'll probably have to, yeah, there's 3 ISO slots total, one is occupied. So I'm gonna try and put like a network card in this guy and everything. So yeah, Packard Bell did go downhill later on for sure. Especially, you know, around this area is when they were kind of at their height, right? 95, 96, or 94, 95, 96, I should say. Kind of like when that home PC market in 96 exploded. I remember my compact was very similarly designed like this. You could pull out the whole tray like that and everything. And again, it was intended to be like, you know, one computer, no extra cables to keep track of and everything, well, besides the monitor cable. And just, you know, here's your one unit, everything you need. So it has, yeah, everything you need in here. So you can't really see much, but you can see the processor and the memory in there and everything. So still pretty heavy, but then in there basically has kind of like a proprietary connector, I believe, to connect the whole assembly, which you can kind of see right in there. I'm not sure what kind of connector that is. Probably just fully custom, right? So it's just a small connector that hooks everything up to the you know, power button. Well, not the monitor, obviously, but everything else that needs for the actual case. So I'm gonna put this back in here now. And we'll see if we can figure out a way to boot this guy. So I'd like to see, as again, you can. It's really hard to see here, but there's a very distinct line here where the plastic is, you know, white and then yellow on the outside there. There we go. We're going to screw this back in here. See if I can capture the screen directly with this camera. I have a feeling I can't. If I can't, I'm going to switch over to the capture device and get the screen there instead. So we'll reconfigure the stream a little bit. But for now, I'm going to try and do this the hard way. Okay, time to plug some stuff in. Probably need power. It's probably a good one. See if we have any sparks or anything. Nothing yet. And this is an old machine, but it's not old on that level, so it shouldn't be too awful, I would think. Got all my wires in order. They're on the pile. Let's see. So it's a very dynamic live stream. We're just flying at the seat of our pants right now. Plug in my grody old keyboard here, and get a chance to bring out some beige keyboard and mice here for this guy. But we'll do justice at some point. I just want to see if this guy works at all. So, all right, we'll see here now if we get extreme flicker or if this actually boots and we can see what's on the screen. Oh, that boots. That's good. Getting pretty bad flicker there. Let's see, that's a pretty funny monitor. It's very curved. 46DX2, 640, and Windows 98. Well, that seems like a little sacrilege, right? So what I'll probably have to do is actually switch over to capture this device in the normal way, so that we can actually see what's going on and everything. Because I have a feeling you don't want to look at this rolling screen here for its screen is pretty yellow too, but maybe that's just a contrast setting. There we go. It's a little bluer. And the cool thing is you can like switch it back and forth like that. Mine had the exact same thing, where you can just kind of adjust like this. And this would have been like, you know, yeah, sure, it can run Windows 98, but it certainly wouldn't have been like, you know, the way I would have run Windows 98. But it does work, right? So, but it's still just kind of stretching the machine a little too far. So, speakers work just fine. I could really feel that 16-bit SRS trademark 3D amphitheater stereo sound. It blew me away there for a second. So. And we're not gonna watch this rolling thing here. So I'm gonna try and switch over to using capture here instead, because that's gonna be a lot less headache-inducing, I think. So sadly, the monitor's gonna go away. I'll keep the camera on the actual computer, but that way, see, again, it's just pretty funny because it's just a monitor cable that's loose on the back there, right? So I think that's pretty funny. So let's see, where did my monitor cable go here? Yep, it's all prepared ahead of time. Flawless execution, just like the big streamers. There we go. Let's plug this guy in, and we'll see if we can capture it instead. All right, let's go to my streaming software. Look at that. We got a picture. So I'm gonna reconfigure this on the fly. Hopefully no one gets sick when I'm messing with this. Let's see. We're going to move this over here. We're going to blow this up. This. This is very professional, I promise. Let's see. Switch this over. Oops. That wasn't a good idea. Alright, there we go. Just trying to get a little more, well, that's fat. Oh, goodness, we're trying. I didn't get a lot of chance to prep this ahead of time, so I apologize. Gonna have to wing it, as they call it. We'll make something work here for a second. There we go. Alright, that'll do for now. So, alright, let's take a look and see what we can figure out with this machine then. So, I have a lot of cameras on the machine here, so I'm gonna, let's see. We'll leave that for now. So now, of course, I am looking at the machine from the other vantage point, so I will move this camera to see my pretty face, obviously. There we go. Alright, so first thing first, we're going to see if we can actually reload this machine and everything. Of course, now we got to look over here because I'm capturing this instead, but someone will have to let me know if they can't see the capture. I think it should be good now, I hope. Everything. Alright. So now, let's see if we can reboot this thing and actually restore it. So this is probably going to be, I mean, we can take a look at what's on this machine, but time is actually accurate. So I think it was used pretty recently, judging by this here. We can hear the hard drive. I'm not sure if that comes across or not, but boy, there is not much installed on this guy at all. It's like a bare bone Windows 98 installation, basically. Someone just loaded Windows 98, maybe just, you know, wiped it for resell or reuse, right? So sad I don't have capturing that can handle the CRT there, but there's only so much we can do, right? The hard drive is obviously a slower 5400 spinning thing because it is thrashing right now, swapping and everything, right? So Windows 95C, so yeah, this was definitely upgraded then. Let's see, let's take a look at properties. There's the name of the user. Generated until 12 meg RAM. Alright, it was upgraded. Sweet. 12 meg. I mean, I can't do the mullet kit or whatever with the knob. One of my favorite gifts of all time. Alright, let's see if we can reload this guy. So we're going to try the recovery disk. Hopefully the CD-ROM drive works. That's a good sign. There we go. We're going to pop in the recovery disk. It says recovery disk. This is to reinstall operating system files to the hard disk. There we go. Turn off computer, insert a disk, turn on your computer, follow on-screen instructions. So again, it's basically the boot disk. So, and then we're going to shut down. Let's see. Shut down. Restart. The nice part with, again, with these machines was such a, you know, all-in-one setup that it just worked. Everything was included, right? So, oh, there we go. We got to read. Let's put this box out of the way. Mouse initialized, auto typing. Okay. I'm going to do this so we can see. All right, that's doing something. Something's better than nothing. So here we can see all the specs of the machine and everything. So BIOS date 94. Hopefully the floppy works. That's always the kicker, right? Old floppy. Is it going to work? Starting MS-DOS. That's a good sign. We can just get this to work just on the fly like this. I'd be very happy. Because it can be really hard to restore these machines to factory spec and everything. You can reload Windows 3.11. You know, I got all the floppies for it and everything. It takes like 4 hours, but with these recovery CDs, I remember that with my compact as well. It was just, you popped it in and let it run a few hours, and the machine was back like you got it out of the box. So that's really cool if this does work. Look at that. If you're unsure how to use this diskette, please call Packard Bell Technical Support. I don't think that number still works. Maybe it does. There's no number here, though, so I see. The service flyer or setup guide package to your computer. Make it as generic as possible. Let's see. Welcome to Packard Bell System Recovery Program. Select one of the following actions to restore your system to its original working order. Let's see. So we have allow your computer to start from its hard disk, copy original autoexec bat config sys, copy DOS utility files, restore specific original configuration files. We do all. Cannot find necessary backup files. Okay. Correct or restore certain files which may have been accidentally changed. I see. So it's for individual things. The question then is the multimedia master diskette. Let's see what it says on this guy. Is that the same one? Yeah. The master CD can be utilized to restore your hard drive to original. So I think we used the other floppy. So it looks like this floppy is kind of like, yeah, You never take anything for granted with these old machines, Brian. It just sometimes it actually works. So it looks like this is going to be there, 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 there. I'm trying to sound crazy with two cameras at the same time, but it's all in the name of multimedia, right? So it looks like this is the restore disk we actually need. So we're going to do exit program, return to DOS. Because this floppy then, I'm going to put it back in, but so this restores specific files that are missing, basically. So we're going to swap this out here as soon as it's done. It probably goes back to DOS and then we'll reboot it. So there we go. So we'll take that out. So this will be then the full restore one. So we'll Control-Delete that guy. That's it for Bubbly, not sponsored. All right. Try this again here. Starting as DOS. Same process here. It uses a boot disk, obviously, just to get into DOS and then run from the CD. So we'll see when I restore to AST, kind of similar. Whoa, okay. Unreliable XMS memory. We'll just continue starting. Who knows? I don't really care if the high-mem DOS driver doesn't work that well on this guy. So long as it actually runs extended memory, sure, it's trying to install. Hopefully no one like overwrote this disk or anything. Finding the recovery disk might be challenging otherwise. So, but it's just loading extra memory and everything. I wouldn't think that's needed to just run the software. We'll find out. Still working on it. Come on. Come on, Schwartz. Smart driver cannot be loaded. That's fine. I think smart driver. Oh, no, it's disk drive. There we go. Restore hard drive files from master CD. So let's see. You revoke and remove all data from your hard drive. So that no means of retrieving this data after it's been recovered by the formatting processor. Removed. Inserted in this format. So this software restores software applications which were installed on the hard drive of Packard Bell to their original factory settings. If you use this option without formatting your hard drive, you should be able to retain your personal files. Forget that, we're going to format this sucker. We don't want to do a full wipe and clean, so. Yep, that's fine. Hopefully this is a quick format, otherwise this is going to take a long time. Well, there we go, that's pretty alright. Sometimes when old disks and everything get worn down and they start having problems reading and write, the formatting speed can be just ridiculous. Especially the AST I had that came with several 1 gig drives when I was formatting those guys. I mean, it was taking hours in the beginning there until I figured out what was wrong. So I did switch to a SD card solution, which may be in this guy as well. But right now, it's just so nice and vintage to have that grinding hard drive sound. So we'll keep it as long as we can. So, but it's actually moving along pretty well. But then the question is now, I have a feeling, where did I put? I'm going to put everything. What's probably going to happen is after the recovery started, we'll probably ask me for the CDs, I imagine, because unless this master CD has all the individual software, I would think it's going to start prompting for all the CDs. So, but I, for one, cannot wait to use the 3D glasses because that is just rad. And it comes with 2 as well, so so the kids don't have to fight over it, right? Or destroy their ice. This is really. I used to remember these being just awful in general, but they're just so cool. To order 3D glasses, durable plastic frame 3D glasses, or to hear the latest news about our products, including brand new programs, call 1-800-BLAH-BLAH today. I'm not sure if it shows like on camera, but this thing's got little dinosaurs and sciencey things on it, which is the intent with these things. They were always bundling this kind of software with these multimedia machines to make it justified for kids getting one. Because I got a Comic Presario, right, which had all this stuff, but I wanted to play games. But sure enough, I could do schoolwork on it. You could do that kind of stuff. So that's what we're trying to bundle this with there. So
parents wouldn't feel bad about buying this kind of stuff, right? So 53% complete. All right. But I, you know, this was my first real computing experience. Not this exact machine. I'm still looking for that kind of compact. But this is the literal equivalent on the Packard Bell side, which made me so excited when I saw this machine on my local marketplace and just had to grab it right away. That it's that all-in-one multimedia experience from the 90s that I just love. And then it's going to run a lot of the kind of games that I used to play back then, which will be your, I played Transport Tycoon, played TIE Fighter. I'm trying to remember. I have a lot of the boxes back here, obviously, and obviously Livestream this machine at some point as well, just to play games on it. We'll see how much we upgraded and everything, because 1 megabyte of video RAM is, you know, appropriate for this monitor. I doubt this monitor, it can probably go to 1024, not with full color, imagine. So, you know, it's pretty limited. You could replace the video card, but I don't know. It kind of goes against the feeling of the machine. Memory has been upgraded, obviously. Sound card. I mean, it's an all-in-one machine that's already there and working. So then, yeah, you could upgrade it and replace stuff, and I'll probably just keep it as is and replace maybe things that are, you know, breaking. So the hard drive, I'm guessing, excuse me, were the first one to go, because, you know, that's the way these old hard drives go. They're sooner or later gonna not work. So. Don't have any other people here. I think it's just maybe one more person there. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's too bad I can't. I'll figure out a way maybe to do a live capture on that one. I think that one of my cameras might be able to handle that better. But as you may have seen in other places and everything, you have to do a custom refresh rate on your camera to capture a CRT, because the refresh rate on the camera, just this guy, doesn't match up with the refresh rate on the CRT, which is then you get that rolling effect. So if you fine-tune your camera, there's applications to do that on your phone, or certain more high-expensive cameras can set a custom refresh rate, and if you match that with the screen, which in DOS is like 72 hertz, or a you know, split in half or something, or 60 hertz, you set it in Windows, or 75 hertz, 80, whatever. If it matches that, rolling should stop or be pretty minimal. So, all right. That is a lot of bad sectors, if that is accurate. Holy cow. So let's see, 407 megabytes formatted. So that doesn't make a lot of sense. There's 427 megabytes of total disk space. Unless I'm reading this incorrectly, there's 4.5 gig of bad sectors. But maybe I'm just not reading bytes very well. But we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll have to replace the hard drive on the spot, but sure doesn't sound fantastically healthy. So, all right, so now the hard drive is formatted, so that's the first step. Next, we're going to go to the restore hard drive from master CD. So we'll see now. Now it should just spin up and like boot from the CD and do the rest from there, because the floppy, of course, doesn't really have much on it. It's just the boot program. The rest is on the CD-ROM drive, because I mean it's just too big for that, obviously. So restore. That's weird though. It literally said, please enter your hard drive format number. The format number is printed on the system credential sheet that came with your Packard Bell computer. Let's see if that's in here, because that's probably what you wrote on one of those things, I'm guessing. Format 571. I think that might be it. Restore generic formats. Let's see. EPCS, is that the number? I'm not sure. Something is printed or written there, but I'm not sure. EPCS. We can try that number too. I don't know how long the number's supposed to be. Well, it just errored out. Can it not like try again? So this would probably have been on one of these custom papers. Oh, here we go. This guy. So this is probably the binder that, like, I remember my compact had the same thing. It's like a sealed thing because this is unique for this computer. I don't know why they would do that unless it's using some custom software on each one. Probably because you've agreed to the license and everything. It means that it's tied to you. But this number here, that was promising. So we'll try that. 170281. I won't copy that number. I'm gonna Find anyone misusing that on another comp or Packard Bell. We're not found on a master CD. Fine. Look around a little more, see if there's anything else here. I'll also do a generic restore, I guess. Serial BPCS number. I'm not sure what that is. We'll try it one more time. Maybe it's, you know, you're not supposed to have that. I don't think it'll be the number on this custom one, though. That seems odd. It wouldn't be this guy. Restore hard drive from, let's see. I'll just do generic restore. It's not that important. Just want to get it up and running. Load times. Old computers. That was the norm back then, but, you know, nothing compared to an Amiga sitting right there. Those things were brutal. Please enter your hard drive format number. The format number is printed on the system credential sheet, which came with your Packard Bell computer. So there would have been a sheet that had all the logon information, I'm guessing, like the default settings. But that actually may not be in here, believe it or not. Everything else is in here, but I'm guessing that was like a unique one. Because there's that same number again, 17028. So, oh, okay, so this is just the serial number then of the paperwork. So, unless it's this guy. Use supplied disks. So someone already took the Windows 90 or 311 disks out of this guy. Hard drive format. It's printed on the system credential sheet, but I don't think I see that. So every other sheet here, but again, this is the registration sheet, and they actually took this off and filled it out and registered it. So good guy, whoever owned this computer before. So I think we'll just do a generic restore and see if that works. Because yeah, I don't see any other papers that would be relevant there. So we'll just do that. Sure. So now it's going to basically restore the whole machine. That's the nice part, is you don't have to worry about anything. You should install the software, all drivers, and next boot it will just be literally like came from the factory, right? So that's the sorry, knock on wood or crossing fingers. That's what it should be doing. The question is if it will do that or not. We'll find out. So. Of course, now it's reading from the CD-ROM drive to get all out. So I'm gonna try and do a quick check on the config. Are we getting the correct one? Yeah, I never heard of a hard drive format number either. I'm not sure if it was just like if it was maybe, you know, it came with custom software from the factory or something. I mean, if you could have custom ordered, I kind of doubt it. At least the compact I had, which is the big box, you know, store, went to an electronics giant boutique or whatever and got bought it right off the shelf there. So I'm not sure if it was like customized for businesses or people or something like that, or they pre-configured it. It's the only thing I can think of. So unless it's on the software packet, but I kind of doubt it. This is just a license agreement on the back here saying like when you break the seal, you agree to the awesomeness that's in here, including Mega Race. So this is pretty funny if it can run that as well. Again, the nice part now is that all the drivers are installed. You don't have to muck about that, which can be all fun on Windows 3.11. It's once you skip back to something older like that, after having used, you know, plug and play OSs, Windows 95, 98, and everything, it's kind of a big change going back to older stuff like that. So that's more of a hassle. I did recently install a network adapter in my out of Windows 3.11 machine, just because I wanted to, and that was a little more involved than in Windows 95, where you just like, you know, you don't have to install the TCP/IP stack. Windows 3.11 does not come with TCP/IP stack by default, so you actually have to install that. Oh, this is a good sign. Source open, unable to open file. Mouse is not reachable. Can't press anything. Ooh. So that question, if the hard drive is broken or the CD-ROM drive is unable to read, because it is just, I see it there. I figured it was too good to be true, but I wonder, I can't imagine it's the CD itself that's broken, so I'll still have hopes that if we replaced a CD-ROM drive maybe, or the hard drive itself honestly might be what's going, be my guess. There we go. Yep, got it. But it says source open. And, well, I don't see any seek from the CD-ROM drive all of a sudden, so. Ooh, there we go. guess it was reading a lot of files and it's kind of flying at it really quick now. So, that's fine. Looks great. Done. Computer's restored. It works great. Kind of. It's tripping over itself now. So this is where I'm going to do the nodding kit approval again. What now? The PC speaker works just fine. Okay, well, it's still going. So, okay. Hopefully the CD-ROM drive, CD isn't busted. In that case, well, it could be a CD-ROM CD reader, of course. It's just dusty or not good anymore. I'm hoping that's the case. Nothing to see. Carry on. Think of the Leslie Nielsen thing, where it's the fireworks factory exploding in the background, and just like, nothing to see. Disperse. Go back to your homes. Nothing to see here. So it's still going. So we'll see where this ends up, or if it's going to boot Windows and like go derp at the end of it and not work. Maybe it'll boot. We'll see. If not, I'll probably try and put in a different CD-ROM drive into this guy and see. Maybe it's just a CD-ROM drive that needs, cleaning, greasing, all that good stuff. Because I mean, it's been untouched probably for decades. Or it's the CD itself, which would be a little more unfortunate. But at that point, I'll probably try and rip the CD, because I have a feeling finding these recovery CDs is going to be pretty hard. I found that when I was trying to restore other machines, especially the AST, it's really, really hard to find original restore discs. Unless it's a popular model, okay, then that's fine. But some of the more obscure ones, or the less produced ones, are really, really hard to find the restore discs for, especially the right version, because they might have multiple versions. The AST one had, AST Restore was in version 2, version 3, version 4, and some of Windows 95, some of Windows 3.11. And I've got restore CDs from other people on forums and everything, and they're like, oh, use this one, that works great. And then you boot it, and it does work, and it installs. But then when you get to the actual boot of the Windows, it's just like, nope, this is not going to work, because it's just basically overrode or hard restored whatever software it wanted, and it wasn't checking to make sure that it was the right computer or anything. So it wasn't checking that at all, which is interesting. Well, to do something. Hard drive sounds healthy. It doesn't click or make any obnoxious sounds or anything. It just sounds like a regular hard drive. The fan sounds good. It's not grinding anything. So it'd be interesting to see. I would like to kind of retro-write this guy, because it is real interesting. It just doesn't come across on camera very well, but you kind of see this is a different shade here. But if you look closely, you can see this is yellow, this is white, this is yellow, this is white, this is white. The button's yellow. It's yellow. This is white here. The speakers are quite a lot more yellow than the surrounding computer and everything. So then, of course, the whole case would have to come off. And since this, I believe this front panel is probably detachable, but then the whole back of this case is one unit. So the front here comes loose, probably. But if I want to retrowrite this, I have to get a tub that basically holds. I don't see any seams on the actual back of the monitor. It will be pretty massive. Plus, I mean, it's getting into wintertime now, so no retrowriting options here now, really. But next summer it might be nice to try it. But I would take the whole thing apart and try and get the back of the case off, and then you're opening up the CRT itself, which is also a little tricky. So the interesting is clearly, if you don't remember, the yellowing of the plastic from the 90s and earlier was because they used a certain flame retardant agent to make it not burst into fire, I guess, that caused the plastic to yellow over time. And that's, patina, whatever you want to call it. This comes with character. Some computers do it, some don't. Most of them did, especially, look at consoles from the 80s and 90s. They certainly often have that very strong yellow. Yeah, I think it's going to be very awkward to submerge. Yeah, unfortunately there's like air holes and stuff, so now the problem is the bin I have. And it's probably just going to be one of those where I rotate around, trying to get it even, so I'm not sure. I do have a pretty big bin for this, but I may have to get an even bigger one. The problem is heating water, because the heating effect is what does a lot of the retrowriting. Besides the peroxide, it has to be fully submerged and then really heated for a long period of time. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'll leave it for now. Good character, I guess. So it's pretty neat that found this machine to begin with. So I'll make a full actual video on this machine. I just wanted to explore together with two people. Cheers. It's just a very fond memories of that era for me. Just my first computer was actually a hand-me-down from my dad, which is like a 286, which I kick on myself for not keeping now. I think it was an IBM, actual official IBM with a click keyboard and a whole kit, but no, did not keep it. The next machine I got, which was what we bought, which was the Compact Presario equivalent of this guy, a 33 megahertz SX, so certainly not the fastest one. It was actually one of the slower ones at the time, but price was right and had all the features. And again, it was very attractive because it was an all-in-one. You bought this box, you brought it home, you got all the software you needed to just get up and go. The heartbreaking thing, of course, was that I got Doom 2 and Transport Tycoon, and neither one would work really at all with the amount of memory that was installed, which was 4 megabytes. And I think it was more to do with DOS memory management, but I managed to convince my parents to buy me another 4 megabyte stick, which was like several $100s, just to get 8 meg of memory, and then I was able to run Doom 2. And I kind of just played a game I got before I got the computer, and all was well. So it was shotgunning people in the face, I guess. Played a lot of violent games as a kid, and somehow not violence. It's funny how that works. Still restoring, even though we got a little unable to open file in the middle there. It's doing something. It's reading it. So yeah, I'd be really curious to see if A, if this works, and then B, if it's the restore disk itself or the CD-ROM write that's the problem. I mean, it's not the floppy disk. It's clearly reading. It's not even reading from that at all now. There's no activity light here, just from this guy here now. I'm gonna move this a bit closer. It's gonna get in the way here. It's tricky to stream this computer stuff unless you have an actual workbench set up specifically for this. So let's see. Still working on it. Putting an SD card solution or something will probably speed this guy up too. But the one thing with that is that the AST that I have now runs really well with that hard drive replacement, and it's great. We have a solution, right? Because that was the concern, that eventually these hard drives would just stop working. What do we do as retro enthusiasts as we lose that kind of, well, not being able to run our computers, right? So when those IDE card adapters came out, it was awesome. You know, you could run them with Compact Flash for starters. So it's probably the better one in general, but Compact Flash is expensive now. The really only reason that exists is industrial machinery. There's a lot of control computers that have little hard drives that need that. So you can actually buy, I'll have to buy something and try it, but it's basically like an IDE connector, let alone nub, that holds a flash card on it that just plugs straight into IDE port. And that's really meant for industrial computers to just work as a hard drive with no extra components. Just plug it straight into the IDE port, and bam, it's a hard drive. And I think it's basically a compact flash solution that's baked into it. But those are really expensive because they're industrial grade and they're designed for vibration and heat and dirt and grime and all that. And they're really expensive for what they are, versus a SD card is dirt cheap and adapter is like 10 to 15 bucks. It's a very cheap solution. I was hearing the thing about like, well, they can't handle them in read and writes. Well, how much can an old hard drive? And a lot of these retro computers, for me at least, won't get as much runtime. They're not going to sit on 24/7 like my modern computer does with an SSD. Or even back in the day when I had a machine like this, I certainly wasn't letting it sit just on all the time. You turn it off when you were done, you turn it on when you use it. And if you keep that in mind, that I don't use each retro computer that many hours, those SD cards are just fine, I bet. They're going to last for a long time. And hey, if they break, so what? You buy another SD card for $2, plop it in. What I try and do is back up my machine so that I have an image I can just restore from. And it's just so cheap, it's hard to ignore. But you do lose that sound. It's part of nostalgia. Now, it's slow as hell, but it is part of nostalgia now, because all I hear is that hard drive clicking. See, I'm not sure if that actually comes across on the microphone or not, but it's just, it's part of the experience. Like, you know, Ryan the Amiga sitting back there, you helped me with that floppy. Goodness, this is so hard with the camera. That Amiga back there has a Gotek floppy emulator in it, right? And it's missing that Seek sound that the Amiga had. And it's a real bummer because it is so distinct. It's a very loud floppy drive Seek sound. And there's a floppy drive in there. I'll have to cover it at some time, but just having trouble getting it to work. you miss out on experience. It's just, it works just fine, but you're getting a little closer to the emulation stage, because you can emulate all these things. You don't need this computer. You don't need any of this. Well, I need it. But, it's, you know, you want that whole experience, which for me, this machine gives me that whole experience, which is what's so awesome. So I say, I still think it's hilarious that there's a VGA cable in the back. It helps me for capturing, don't get me wrong. But my compact very much had integrated. I'm pretty sure there was an actual like VGA out as well that would override the internal one. So, but yeah, it is nice that there's a solution now for failing hardware. Because you think about this guy, there's not a lot of moving components in this. It is a hard drive. Back then, especially with 486, it's just a heatsink. So, okay, the hard, you know, the processor might go kaput one day, but that's pretty low chance of that. So really, the hard drive, which is the mechanical spinning part, will fail. The fan will fail. Those are replaceable easily. Now, with the SD card stuff or compact flash, and especially on a machine like this, you know, this is a 400 megabyte hard drive. Okay, you put a gig hard drive is like anything beyond this Windows 3.11 machine DOS would have seen, right? And there's limitations, FAT16, FAT32, etc. So that's not that big of a deal. So that makes it really, really easy and cheap to get a new hard drive replacement. So, but again, you miss out on that clicking and grinding and slow speeds, because yeah, this is a 5400 RPM drive on like a 33 speed bus, right? So it's not not exactly fast, as we can tell from the restore, which is still running, even though we have that huge unable to open file. So I'm really curious to see after all this if this thing will boot or not. If you're wondering why I'm starting off screen there, it's because that's where the capture is, so I can see the actual screen, since this is black. I can see my light here. So I'm hoping at some point to be able to stream and capture, or I can capture obviously, but to be able to stream a screen like this, because it would make it a fun experience filming the whole thing. So, of course, I have the sacrilege here of using a really beat up Dell black keyboard. It should obviously be a Packard Bell computer keyboard. The Packard Bell, at least that I've seen, the one I played up with my friend's house, the Packard Bell keyboard also follows this wavy pattern on the top of the keyboard, and the mouse itself is just, it's hilarious, because it's basically like this puck, right? And then the buttons stuck out at the top or whatever, but it's basically like a circle and like a square that stuck out at the top, and it had the wave pattern on, and it was just yeah, form over function big time, but you know, they had to keep a cohesive design language, if you will, versus the compact one I had was just a very generic looking mouse, but I guess Packard Bell just wanted their own thing, so that's what they did. Yeah, I'm literally sitting on the floor right now because of the way the streaming is set up here, so it's taking a long time. I need something to sit on. I'm getting old. Of course, now I'm way too hot here, so we'll do this. You're going to see my light, too, right in the face. That helped nothing. This is tricky. You can tell, again, a big-time streamer now. Got all the stuff configured correctly. Okay, I'm still working at it, so. C speed, yep. So that must be that speed software there. There we go. Not work. All right. Still copying. Well, of course you weren't fast enough. It's that speed. You can't keep up with that speed, so we have a couple more viewers as well. Welcome. We're right now restoring, we're using the recovery disk on this. What's the official name again? Packard Bell Spectria 200 CD with a 486 66 megahertz processor. So we're trying to recover it and everything, but it's taken a while. And also we had some unable to open files, so we'll see if the restore works or not. But it's using a included, which actually is pretty cool. That actually was there still. Floppy disk and the recovery CDs were in driver storage here, so it'll be pretty sweet if this thing actually boots up and works after this. So we'll see. But sure, it's not fast to restore. But I remember on the compact, excuse me, you would just kick this off and let it run for hours. I think I did it one time when I just messed up the computer so much. It was like not even worth to like recover it at that point. Like I don't remember what I did, and I think I remember now what I did. So I had the AST plus my compact at the same time for a while. So I decided, well, I need Windows 95 on the compact as well, which was bundled with Windows 3.11, and Windows 95 was the cool new thing. My AST had it, so I decided to, by hand, copy the Windows 95 directory with floppy to the other machine. And I spent an entire afternoon running back and forth with those darn floppies. Just, well, don't copy that floppy, but I sure did. Copying the whole Windows 95 directory over to my compact from my AST, and obviously the compact was like, nope, it just wouldn't boot anything. You know, it couldn't find the drivers. It just was just dead in the water. It was extremely broken. So I think I actually had to dig out my recovery CD, which at that time I was pretty happy I had, and just recovered it and just let it sit for a few hours and it was good to go. So I'm not sure if it's still having problems here now. Oh, it actually froze up. Numblock is not working. Well, that's not a good sign. Wait just a second, but I have a feeling it's trying to read from either the CD then, or trying to write to the hard drive, which isn't working anymore, especially with the 4.7 gig of bad sectors on a 420 meg drive. Doesn't add up very well, so I have a feeling either the controller is busted, or hopefully just a hard drive. That'll be a more likely scenario, or the CD-ROM drive, or something. It's a vintage computer, things break. That's what they do. That's why this is fun. Nothing works. Give it a good try. Alright, let's see. Nothing. Can I eject? Nope. It literally won't even let me eject. It's that hard frozen. Came so far and then just died. A few options then. I could actually install a different CD-ROM drive and see if that works. Or just, yeah. I don't think Control Delete's going to do anything. Nope, this is going to have to be a hard. Let's see if Windows boots now. We're going to hard power it off. This is, old-fashioned. It's actually just a regular power button. It just, turns it off. There's no, like, soft shut down here. And that power button is a little gross, so we'll have to clean that at some point. But spin up. Monitor turns on. Obviously, no signal. It turns on. But so let's take a look here now. See if that's a pretty aggressive seek sound there. Let's see if it actually. I have a feeling the answer is going to be no. What do you mean the missing files? Of course it's going to work. Maybe it's just installed DOS and that's it. I guess it probably has some kind of a basic DOS boot setup on it to be able to continue the installation, I'm guessing, after a reboot, so it's probably just trying now. But I feel like we're going to run into a brick wall here pretty soon. Yeah, it's just going to boot loop now. Well, we got C-prompt. That's something, right? Look at that. It's got speed on there. So, can we actually... Yeah, it's like half finished. I mean, it's there, but... There's Mega Race. I don't think we're booting Windows on this guy. Let's take a look at the AutoExec file and see what it actually... It's funny, because you're so used to a modern command line, right? I mistyped it. Oh, nope, that's not here. Not supported. You're typing that again by hand. I'll just type it. I'm typing sideways, as you can tell. It's like every glamour shot of a programmer I've seen like in small time local newspapers. They're like, I'm programming. And they're sitting like this sideways to get a shot plus them sitting at the computer. It looks so awkward. I don't have edit. Alright, do I have... Oh my. I don't think it's finished. Oh, I guess it's Windows 3.11. So now the problem, right? Again, my mind is kind of muddled. It's kind of muddled by Windows 95 and 98, right? So the point is, like, you could try and like recover this, and you'll probably spend a long time trying to do that. It's probably not worth it. So probably, well, I don't even have edit. That command of font name. Yeah. So probably the best option is to try to recover it again, but I hate to live stream it all over again. So then we got a ways into this, but I'm probably going to try and maybe replace the CD-ROM drive and restore it. We'll see. I'll do an actual video on that versus another stream. But I thought I just wanted to share because I was so excited to find this computer today. It's pretty cool. So, and hey, I didn't even get murdered picking it up from random strangers, so that's pretty cool. So we'll see if we can get this to work. I'm confident between the, look at the CD. Oh yeah, the CD looks pretty good. It's got a little discoloration like a concern. There's a little bit of scratch on it too. I doubt that's going to show up on camera here, but there is kind of like a little bit of a haze or along one of the areas here. You can kind of tell there's got a discoloration, which hopefully doesn't mean that sometimes these old discs, they can actually have disc rot or the layers start separating because they're just age and they weren't designed to last. So this was 25, 30 years. That was not the intent of these. Even though CDs can last a very long time if they're treated well, some of the lower quality ones are just going to start degrading, blinding myself. But there's some scratches on here, so I'm curious to see if this actually, I guess I can, clearly it was readable for a large portion of time. So the question is if it's the hard drive, and that's kind of where I'm leaning based on the fact that there was such a bad time on the format there. Is the CD-ROM drive even loaded? Nope. Yeah, it doesn't have enough memory to load that, and the MCDX whatever did not load either, so there's no actual CD-ROM drive loaded here. So that's pretty much a done deal. So I'll have to reconvene on this machine and try and actually restore it, and we'll see where the actual fault is. I'm hoping it's not the... I mean, the hard drive does not look good, let's just say that, but it'll be nice to keep it. Maybe have another small hard drive, but, odds are this will have to go the compact flash route or something, which is a little sad, because it would have been cool if it just worked out of the box, but have the restore disk, so I'm going to try and use it, and we'll see, maybe I have to rip it and reburn it or something. Hopefully there's not any check on this to make sure it's a legitimate, but the floppy works, so that's a good sign. But we're just going to have to probably pack it in there, and I will try and do like a proper restore, and I'll do an actual video on the restore the machine. But just want to kind of go over the machine real quick. It's a fun little thing. So welcome to stream. No, it does work. The screen does. What I had to do was unplug it to capture it. So the actual monitor is plugged in with an actual VGA cable. Even though this is an all-in-one, on the back there's a monitor cable that goes to the actual computer. So to be able to capture it on camera, most CRTs just get a rolling effect, and it's very headache-inducing. And it's a lot easier than to capture it directly. So that's what I had to do. Without my camera's not capable, at least with the settings I have messed with so far, to capture that correctly without the rolling effect. So I'll mess with that as well and see if I can configure that. I don't think I can match that frame rate. So. That's going to be able to do. Yeah. I tried to mess with it, but yeah, that's why the monitor's off right now. So just capturing the machine itself, and also again, I mean, you'd have to use a VGA splitter in the back to be able to output on this one and capture at the same time, and capturing makes it a lot cleaner. So this is a 486, 66 megahertz machine. So it's very firmly rooted in the mid-90s and everything. So it's right smack in the middle there. Kind of the first of the multimedia revolution, right? Came with CD-ROM drive and bundle software up the wazoo with a whole bunch of multimedia experience stuff and everything. So Sadly, the restore did not work. We tried to restore it for about an hour, so we'll have to recover or try and do something else to get it to recover. But there was a lot of problems reading source files, so we're not sure if it was because the hard drive was busted because we formatted it, and it said there was, well, unless I count wrong, 4.7 gig of bad sectors, which doesn't make sense because there's 400 meg on it. So I must have miscounted that. But either way, the hard drive did not look nice during the format. So then the restore started having a lot of read errors and everything, or source read errors. So it might just be the CD-ROM drive that's busted. So I'm going to try and replace that and see what the problem is. But I'm probably going to call it right there. Because, yeah, the machine can't really go any further now without some more extensive surgery. But, again, just wanted to kind of explore the machine real quick because it's a pretty cool rig and everything. But I'll make a full video on it. So, for now, I'm just going to go ahead and sign off and see what else I can figure out with this machine. So, thanks, everyone, for joining in. And until next time, maybe I'll be streaming some games from this machine when it actually works. Who knows? If it does. If I can get it to work. I mean, most of the machine is fine. That's what I'm assuming. So, just hard drive, CPU, or no, hard drive or the CD-ROM drive. Some variety is the problem, I think. So we'll go ahead and figure that out. So I'm going to call it there. So thanks, everyone, for joining in tonight, and I'll see you next time.